कैमरा से पड़ गए मैडम साइड रे
देखाला देखाओ सब डेमोक्रेटिक
some
Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, all. Shall we start the class?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Very good afternoon. Shall we start the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yesterday, I already discussed about the different types of vitamins available. First one is the water-soluble vitamins and the fat-soluble vitamins. I already discussed about the sources of the different types of vitamins like the vitamin A, D, E, K. These all are the fat-soluble vitamins, and vitamin B complex and vitamin C is the water-soluble vitamins. I already discussed about the different types of sources where we got the fat-soluble vitamins and the water-soluble vitamins, and where it is absorption takes place and where it is transported, and what is its chief function in our body. Yesterday I already discussed about all these things. Today I will discuss about the balanced diet. What is balanced diet? And planning the balanced diet. Use of food groups in the planning balanced diet and the use of RDA, recommended dietary allowance, in planning the balanced diet. And what is the guidelines for the planning balanced diet? What is balanced diet? What is the definition of balanced diet? The diet which contains all types of nutrient. That means it must be contains the energy giving foods, bodybuilding groups, protective and regulatory, and fats, vitamins, minerals, carbohydrate, protein, and other macro and micronutrient in appropriate amount. Then it is called as the balanced diet. Balanced diet is defined as the one which contains the different types of foods in such a quantities and proportion that the needs for the calories, minerals, vitamins, and other nutrients is adequately met, and small provision is made for extra nutrient to withstand short duration of time. And balanced diet, mainly it consists of the different types of food items, and that balanced diet is mainly meets the need for the nutrient, and it also provides for periods of learners when the diet may possible not supply adequate amount of nutrient. And a balanced diet mainly consists of different types of food item. Firstly, mainly each group of supplying certain specific nutrient, and they mainly selecting items from each food group to plan a balanced meal plan or balanced diet. Each type of food groups means that diet should be contains the energy giving foods, body building foods, and body protective and regulatory types of foods. A balanced diet meets the nutrient need, and that nutrient needs because of the amount and the proportion of the food selected. Mainly, the RDN, recommended dietary allowance, laid down for the individual for whom the diet plan is planned, and that mainly that balanced diet provide for a periods of time. This balanced diet mainly implies the uh, when we are formulating the balanced diet for a particular age group, that may be old age, that may be adult period, that may be male or female or any kind of disorder case, we are formulating the different types of nutrient, and also we are mainly focusing upon the different types of and how much amounts of calories also requirement for that particular individuals. Planning the balanced diet, mainly during the planning the balanced diet, the selection of the right kind of food is very essential, and also the inclusion of the suitable amounts of these foods is also very important. And use of the food groups in planning balanced diet, the sources and the physiological function also very important. Mainly the use of food groups in planning balanced diet, classification based on the mainly the sources. The simplest and the most obvious classification is based on the interlink of certain food items in terms of the similar sources. The mainly we are identify by particular, mainly the following categories are commonly identified even by a lay person also. First, we are formulating the different types of millets or cereals, and second one is the pulses, and third one is the greeny leafy vegetables, nuts, and oil seeds. And also we are very focusing upon the roots and tubers, other vegetables also, fruits, milk and milk products, sugar and jaggery, fats and oils, flesh foods like the any kind of poultry or fish or meat, and condiment and spices and egg, because condiment and spices also it act as a protective function, and it also very good for the boosting of our body, and it also contains the richest sources of antioxidant is also there. Then nutrients supplied by the food groups. Mainly the food groups is divided into 5 types. I already discussed about this. First, while formulating the balanced diet, first we are considering about the different types of food groups and the nutrients supplied. Specifically now, the cereals, all type of cereals and the millets. And the example of the cereals and millets are the jot, bajra, and that maize, and different types of millets like the proso millet, kodo millet, barnyard millet, brown top millet, and different types of millets: positive millet, negative millet, and neutral millet, rice, wheat, bajra, maize, ragi. These all are the cereals and the millets. These all are the major nutrient. While formulating the balanced diet, these all are the very major nutrient, and it is the sources of carbohydrate. Some protein, not of the good quality protein. Quality improves in combination with the pulses, major contribution to the protein content of Indian diet because of the qualities consumed. And also the B vitamins, especially the niacin and the thiamine. Yesterday, in the last class, I already discussed about the niacin and the thiamine. And iron also, like bajra, bajra is the one type of millets, and it also contains the richest sources of iron is there, and the richest sources of fiber is also there. And calcium is also very rich in the ragi, particularly in our local language it is called as the mandia. It contains the very richest sources of calcium. And keratin, keratin we are found from the yellow maize. Okay, these all are the carbohydrate sources, which is the very energy giving foods. And the next nutrient is the pulses. And pulses is also the sources of, mainly the protein sources is the pulses. And the example of pulses is the Bengal gram dal, and each and every kind of lentils also one kind of pulses. And red gram, green gram, black gram, these all are the pulses. Quality protein. Not only the good quality protein, quality improves in combination with the cereals. The protein quality will be improved if we will add this protein into the cereals. Then the quality of the protein will be increases. And this carbohydrate, B vitamins, especially in niacin and thiamine and vitamin C. If we will germinate some pulses or any kind of that legumes also, the vitamin C content will be increases. And the third major nutrient is the nuts and oil seeds. These nuts and oil seeds is the main source of protein and the fat. And that also the B complex vitamins, like it also contains some minerals and calcium. These nuts and oil seeds, example of the nuts and oil seeds is the mainly cashew nuts and groundnuts, almonds, and the sesame seeds. Sesame seeds is the very good sources of calcium and phosphorus, and it is also very good for the strengthening of our bone and the skeletal system also. It's very good for the, it also contains the iron also. And mustard seeds, these all are the nuts and oil seeds. And the next is the greeny leafy vegetables. That means while formulating the balanced diet, we are very focusing upon the, first we will focus upon the cereals and millets, because these cereals and millets, it supplies the good sources of carbohydrates. And next we are considering about the pulses, because pulses is the source of protein, and that protein is highly required for our body. And nuts and oils is also the major nutrient, because it contains the good quality of fats, and protein is also there. And along with these things, greeny leafy vegetable is very highly required for the while formulating the balanced menu or balanced diet. And the example of the greeny leafy vegetables are the mainly in our local area, plentifully drumstick leaves are available, and that drumstick leaves is very good sources of vitamin B complex, riboflavin, and iron is also there. and carotene, calcium, iron, vitamin C. Richest sources of vitamin C is also there. And spinach, amarnath, fenugreek leaves, mustard leaves. These all are the very good sources of iron, carotene, vitamin C, and calcium and riboflavin. Folic acid and fiber is also there. Then next, balance in the while formulating the balance menu, na, root and tubers is also plays a major role. In the example of the roots, vegetable and tubers are the mainly the colocasia, sweet potato, tapioca, plain potato, and yam. Specifically, being a nutritionist, sweet potato is the uh, very good diet in our it's very good for our health because it contains the very effective for the increase of our body vitality, and it also very good for the it acts as the anti-carcinogenic effect also, and it is also very good for the those who are having the very during the pregnancy or lactation. It's also very good diet. And these root and tubers, root vegetables and tubers is our major nutrient, and it also supplies the good quality of carbohydrate. In this root and tubers, it may contain and other vegetables like the French beans, brinjals, lady's finger. They also supply the very good qualities of fiber, minerals, and vitamins. And all the fruits, specifically all the seasonal and regional fruits, which is available surrounding uh, in our surrounding where those vegetables are seasonal and regional fruits is very good. And specifically fruits are the major sources of the vitamin C. If we will consume excess amount of guava, amla, and all the citrus fruits, it contains the richest sources of vitamin C. In mangoes, apricots, orange, and papaya, it is the very good sources of carotene is also there because it is orange and light orange and yellow in color. And iron also, the dried fruits such as the dates and raisins it is the very good sources of iron. Milk and milk product is also the very major nutrient for our body. And in the milk and milk products, specifically milk, curd, cheese, coa, cottage, all these are the example of milk dairy product. And it also the major sources of fat, major these milk and dairy product is the major sources of our riboflavin, calcium, fat, protein, carbohydrate. Specifically, all the dairy product, while formulating the balanced diet, we should focus upon this dairy product because this dairy product it contains the good sources of riboflavin, calcium, fat, protein, and carbohydrate. And milk product is highly essential while formulating the balanced menu. And next is the sugar and jaggery. Sugar and jaggery is the very good sources of the carbohydrate, and the sugar is almost 100% carbohydrate. And fats and oils, that is the mainly the soybean, groundnut, mustard, butter, vanaspati, and all the ghees. These all are the major nutrient, and it also the very good sources of fat. And all these sources like vanaspati, butter, soybean, mustard, and groundnuts, vegetable oils, it contains the retinol, that the butter vanaspati, and vitamin D is plentifully available in the vanaspati ghee and butter. And the next diet is our fresh foods. That is mainly we are fresh foods. The example of the fresh foods is the meat and poultry. This is also the major nutrient because these fresh fruits it contains the good sources of protein. That is the good quality, or it is otherwise called as the first class protein because they are B vitamins, retinols, mainly livers, calcium small fish consume. If we will when we are taking the very small fishes na it, with the that small fish consumed whole, it contains the richest sources of calcium. And eggs is also very vital for the vital during the formulating of the balanced diet, because it contains the richest sources of most nutrient, particularly the protein, and that protein is very good quality of protein is present in the egg. In condiment and spices, specifically condiment and spices are the antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory properties, and it also very good antioxidant is also there. And this like the carotene present in the coriander leaves, and green chili contain the vitamin C. Contribution to the diet mainly insignificant, because the quantities uh, are consumed very small amount. This is all about your balanced diet, and the classification of foods based on the function. Mainly, our three groups classification. First one is the energy giving food. Second one is the mainly the three basic physiological function. The first one is the energy giving food. Second one is the bodybuilding and protective, and the third one is the regulatory function. Bodybuilding means food rich in carbohydrate or fat, or both. They mainly provides the energy. These all are the bodybuilding groups of foods. And food rich in protein. That protein aid in the body mainly for the proper construction of the body, or in other words, addition of the new tissue and repair of the worn out tissue is the main role of protein. And vitamins and minerals also present in the food contribute to, mainly it's very good for the prevention of the disorder. This is called the protective function. Like water, fiber, vitamins and minerals play a role in regulating the body function. That's why it is called as the regulatory group of food. And mainly energy giving food, bodybuilding foods, and the protective and regulatory foods. In the energy giving category, mainly the energy giving foods, rich food are the roots and tubers and the cereals. And the fat rich foods specifically, and the example of the fat rich food is the fats and the oils, and the carbohydrate rich foods is the sugar and the jaggery. The main nutrient provided by these foods are the mainly the carbohydrate and the fat. In addition to carbohydrate, the cereals also provide some proteins, vitamins, and the minerals. And the fat and the oils mainly provides the fat soluble vitamins. And the bodybuilding group mainly this bodybuilding group includes all these foods which are very rich in protein. The example of the bodybuilding groups are mainly the pulses. Each and every kinds of pulses is mainly responsible for the proper building of our body, for the new repair of the cells. And the example of the bodybuilding groups are mainly the meat and meat product, milk and milk product, fish, eggs, pulses, nuts, and oilseeds. The primary nutrient provided by all these foods is protein. The foods provided several other nutrient also. Nuts and oilseeds specifically are excellent source of fat in addition to the protein also. And the third group is called as the regulatory group. This regulatory group is otherwise called as the protective group. The primary nutrient provided by the food in this group are vitamins and the minerals. Mainly the regulatory category, the example of the regulatory foods are the fruits, specifically the citrus fruits. The example of the citrus fruits is mainly the lime, orange, and the lemon. And also the yellow and orange color fruits like the mango and papaya and some other orange color fruits also very good for the, it acts as the regulatory food. And the vegetables, in the vegetables, specifically the greeny leafy vegetables. The example of the greeny leafy vegetable is the spinach, fenugreek, and the mustard. Yellow and orange color vegetables like the carrot and the pumpkin. And others are lady's finger, brinjal, cauliflower, cabbage. These all are the vegetables. Greeny leafy vegetables, orange fruits, and yellow fruits and vegetable and citrus fruits are emphasized because they are particularly rich in the carotene and vitamin C also. Each and every meal include foods from these energy giving foods, bodybuilding and protective and regulatory foods. And in this manner, the diet would supply all the essential nutrients and would become very balanced. RDA. Use of the recommended dietary allowance in the planning balanced diet. While we are planning the balanced diet, that RDA plays a very major role. The recommended RDA is the recommended dietary allowance. And this is very important. Recommended dietary allowance. What is recommended dietary allowance? The requirement for particular nutrient is the minimum amount that need to be consumed to prevent the symptoms of deficiency and to maintain the satisfactory level of the nutrient in the body. That is the RDA. Particularly, the nutrient is the minimum amount that needs to be consumed to prevent the symptoms of different types of disorder and to maintain the satisfactory level of the nutrient in the body. That is the what? RDA, recommended dietary allowances. Uh, There are mainly the three important points is very important. First one is the RDA are the safe, high enough to meet the needs of almost all healthy people. That means a generous margin is usually given for the individual variation in a population of individual. And that recommended dietary allowance do not apply to people who are suffering from a disease. If a person is affected by the any kind of disease, then this RDA is not applicable and which influence the nutrient need. That means a disease can cause an increase or decrease in the requirement of one or more specific nutrient. Like sometimes the medicine prescribed during illness influences nutrient also. Because when one take the antibiotics, at that time one also has to consume more of the vitamin B complex. The recommended dietary allowance only apply to individuals who are normally are not suffering from diseases like the influence nutrient requirements. And the recommended dietary allowance for the adult are based on sex, age, body weight, and activity. That means it mainly depends upon the sex and age also, very vital, and your activity level also. Recommended body weight across age for Indian population, mainly specifically infants, age 0 to 6, boys 6.1 kg, and the girls 5.6 kg. And infant 6 to 12 months, the boys 8.8 kg, and the girls 8.2 kg. And that chloride also, one at the period of age 1, the body weight will be 10 to 11, and in the girls also 10 to 11. And children's, when they are progress to the age of 2 years, the body weight will be increases up to 13.3, and for the girls it is 12.7. And that recommended dietary allowance, जो RD are mainly expressed in the kilocalorie. Kilocalorie is the KCAL, or grams or milligrams or micrograms. The RDA for the energy are mainly expressed in the kilocalorie. That means 1 kilocalorie is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree centigrade from 14.5 degree centigrade to 15.5 degree centigrade. It is the kilocalorie requirement.
Madam, again take phone.
Okay. RDA na RDA होची RDA recommended dietary
kilocalorie madam, so kilocalorie explain kale.
Okay. RDA are expressed in the kilocalorie. Kilocalorie, KCAL is the kilocalorie, and in kilocalorie, grams, milligrams, and microgram is also there. RDA for energy are expressed in kilocalorie. 1 kilocalorie is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree centigrade from 14.5 degree centigrade to 15.5 degree centigrade. It is called as the kilocalorie. They are mainly are expressed in the kilocalorie. Understood?
Yeah.
बुझी पारले कि सर?
आगे madam.
ना उतरे कहिबी?
ना madam.
Okay.
मैम टिके ओडिया रे टिके एलाबोरेट करिवे काने से वर्ड गुडा को टिके रिसीव करियोनी ठीक से जोडा कि आपनकर साइंटिफिकली वर्ड गुडा टिके रिसीव करियो।
हाँ सर शुणु जोटा हम निहाती मु सेति पय आपन को काली भी क्लास रे पचारथिली आपण केते जण स्पेसिफिकली ओडिया जदि अधिक जण थिबे ताहले मु आधा आधा जिंस को आपण को मु ओडिया रे मध्ये बुझे देबी कारण एई सब सब्जेक्ट सर हमको स्पेसिफिकली हमको मेडिकल माने रिलेटेड एंड मेडिकल टर्मिनोलॉजी सहित हमें अक्वाइंटेड हबा को पड़िबो तो मेडिकल टर्मिनोलॉजी रो हमें बुझीबा फास्ट थिंग हला दरकार आपण तो बही रु खाता रु कोठो भी परे मु कोन ओटे दे दिबे पण सेटा पढि दिबे पण जानि बट ए टर्मिनोलॉजी सहित जेहेतु आपण नुआ तो मु ओडिया रे कहबे रे मोर प्रॉब्लम नै बट आपण केते जण पार्टिसिपेंट ओडिया बुझी पाउछन सेटा मु पई जानिबा निहाती दरकार जदि अधिक जण थिबे ताले मजरी मजरी ओडिया भी
मैम एक्चुअली बुझी होची गोटे वर्ड एक्चुअली रिसीव को माने सेटा ठीक से रिसीव करियोनी तो सेपन टिके टिके मॉडरेट
ए जो आपण ठीक कहउछन सर बिकॉज़ ए जो टर्मिनोलॉजी उडा को ए जगह आपण पे संपूर्ण नुआ एटा फर्स्ट टाइम आपण सुनुचंती तो ना मु भूल कहउची कोन कहउछन आपण
ना ठीक मैडम ठीक
ना ठीक कहउछन आपण ठीक कहउछन
आज्ञा ठीक अच्छे सर मु चेष्टा करी मो तरफ किछि किछि ओडिया भी निहाती रूपे इनक्लूड करी बट आपण मानकु जोठी भी असुविधा लागुछि मते सेठी रोकिबे एंड आपनकर जोठी डाउट थिबो मते पचारिबे आ मु ट्राई करबी मोर लेवल बेस्ट मु आपण ओके
ठीक है ओके थैंक यू मैम
हां वेलकम एक्चुअली जिते बळे आमे मील प्लानिंग करछंती बैलेंस डाइट रे तो से समय रे कोन होची आमे जो रेकमेंडेड डाइटरी अलाउंस दैट मींस आमे जति आमे गोटे एडल्ट पय किछि फॉर्मुलेट करछंती माने किछि होती बैलेंस डाइट रो मेनू प्लान आमे करछंती ता पय जेति की दरकार किलो कैलोरी जेति की माने करे मु गोटे प्लेट रे किछि खाद्य आपन को देली भात गोटे छोटो गिना देली डाली गोटे छोटो गिना देली एंड दिटे काकुडी रे सलाड देली ता सहित किछि तरकारी देली दही गोटे छोटो गिना देली ए सबु जेक खाद्य जिते बेला हमें खाइले जो बॉडी हम शरीर भीतर को गला सेटा केते किलो कैलोरी सेटा होची हमरो मेजरमेंट हम माने आपण जेमति देखि माने सुनिथिबे जिते बेला गोटे डायबिटोलॉजिस्ट पाखु जाइथिबे सेठी आपण को से संगे संगे से तांकर मेडिकेशन लिखि सल्ला पर से आपण को रेफर करिवे आपण जानतो गोटे डायटिशियन रो कंसल्टेशन नियंतु एंड सेठी आपण माने डायटिशियन को कहंतु 1600 किलो कैलोरी आपण को से डाइट दबा पाई प्रेस्क्राइब करबा पाई तो जो 1600 माने 1600 किलो कैलोरी तो हमको देखिबा को पडुची प्रथम कथा हला आमे को प्रकार माने हमर एज कोन हमर सेक्स कोन हम बॉडी रे कोनसी प्रकार डिफॉर्मिटी अछि कि नाही दैट मींस आमे किछि डिसऑर्डर बा डिजीज तोरे अफेक्टेड हेइ छंती कि नाही जदि किछि भी ए सब रे किछि नै सब नॉर्मल कंडीशन अछि ता परे मध्य हमर फिजिकल एक्टिविटी कोन रहउची आमे एइदर हमें सेडेंटरी वर्क करूचंती ना किछि स्ट्रेनियस एक्सरसाइज किछि फिजिकल एक्टिविटी हमर ज्यादा रहउची किबा हमें लेबर क्लास रे जाउचंती तो अकॉर्डिंगली हमें कोन करिबा हमर बैलेंस डाइट रो मेनू टाको हमें सेतिकी कैलोरी ताको रिक्वायरमेंट हबो सेही अनुसार हमें जनरली हमें ताको फॉर्मुलेट करिबा आ नॉर्मली हमें कोन करू 25 रु 30 किलो कैलोरी पर केजी बॉडी वेट पर केजी हिसाब रे हमें ताको देई थाउ आ जो जिंसरा जो मेजरमेंट करे जे हमें केति खाद्य देलु केति की खाइला केति की रुटी माने जेमति आपण भाबुतिबे जे माने करो घियो गोटे चमच आपण खाइ देबे तापरे आउ किछि जिंस आपण पाटी के जीवन एथि पई जे आपण पाटीटा गोटे बांधिला बलिया लागिवो बिकॉज़ जेतोला हमें गोटे एमएल रो हमें ये नउचंती सेतरा हमें 9 किलो कैलोरी हमें पाई जाउचंती कोन फैट बट जेतोला हमें कार्बोहाइड्रेट प्रोटीन नउचंती सेतरा हमें मात्र पाउचंती 4 किलो कैलोरी तो एटा को जो मेजरमेंट करा होची सेटा होची आपनकर किलो कैलोरी आरडी होची आपनकर रेकमेंडेड डाइटरी अलाउंस मींस आपनको एज अनुसार आपनकर सेक्स अनुसार आपनकर फिजिकल एक्टिविटी अनुसार एंड आपनकर कोनसी डिजीज अछि कि नाही से अनुसार जो हमें रेकमेंड करबा सेटा होची आपनकर रेकमेंडेड डाइटरी अलाउंसेस एति की बुझियला सर बुझी परले अपन माने कोन कहली
yes madam
Yes, madam.
okay then RD for the energy for adult men and women are based on the activity level जोटा मु आपण मानन को एबे कहली स्पेसिफिकली जेतबे हमें रेकमेंडेड डाइटरी अलाउंस हमें जहा को भी रेकमेंड करी थाउ दैट मेनली डिपेंड्स अपॉन द से को ग्रुप रो एडल्ट ग्रुप रो ना छुआ ना ओल्ड एज ना तारो पूरा ओल्ड एज माने चाइल्डहुड तो एई अनुसार तर एक्टिविटी लेवल अनुसार ही हमें आरडी टा को देई थाउ आरडी फॉर द थायामिन राइबोफ्लाविन नियासिन आर डिपेंडेंट ऑन आरडी फॉर द एनर्जी आल्सो एटा कोन ना जितबळे हमें गोटे आरडी कोन रेकमेंडेड डाइटरी अलाउंस हम टोटल एनर्जी केते रिक्वायरमेंट बॉडी रो हमें से अनुसार देई थाउ सेही अनुसार हमें कैलकुलेट करबा केते थायामिन दरकार केते राइबोफ्लाविन गोटे बॉडी को माने सेही केसेस को हमें प्रोवाइड करबा एंड केते नियासिन हमें दबा सेही भितरे पैथोलॉजिकल फिजियोलॉजिकल कंडीशन मध्ये आसीओ पैथोलॉजिकल कंडीशन मींस जति माने करो कोटे जोकोरो जेमति कि ए विटामिनोसिस हेची ए विटामिनोसिस मींस एब्सेंस ऑफ विटामिन्स बी कॉम्प्लेक्स तो सेही थिरा हमें कोन करबा नॉर्मली हमें राइबोफ्लाविन जेति कि दोउचन सेति कि राइबोफ्लाविन हमें ताको दबानी ताठो अधिक दरकार बिकॉज़ सेतिरे तारो राइबोफ्लाविन रो डेफिसिट हेइथिबारु ही तारो चिलियोसिस हो ए विटामिनोसिस रु ही ता पाटी रे घा हेची तो सेही केस रे हमें कोन करबा द आरडीए ऑफ राइबोफ्लाविन विल बी इंक्रीजेस ता डोज ता हमें ताको धीरे टिके बढ़ेबा को पड़िबो जेमति आमे जेतबेले गोटे डायबिटिक पेशेंट रो फॉर्मुला माने डायबिटिक पेशेंट रो जेतबेले बैलेंस डाइट मेनू प्लान करूछंती आपण माने देखिथिबे सब बेले आमे ट्राई करूछंती आमे जेते दूर चेष्टा करिबा आमे प्रोटीन और फैट को अधिक एम्फसाइज देबा एंड कार्ब को आमे रखिबा बट कार्ब निहाती रूपे हमको दरकार माने गुड क्वालिटी ऑफ कार्ब निहाती हेतिबा दरकार एंड सेटा निहाती रूपे सैचुरेटेड कार्ब जेमते न हेतिबो आ जेते रिफाइंड फॉर्म रो कार्ब नेबे आपनकर सेही अनुसार आपनकर ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स ब्लड रे बढ़िबो तो एई सब जिंस होची व्हाइल फॉर्मुलेटिंग द बैलेंस्ड डाइट नाउ वी विल फोकस अपन द पर्टिकुलर न्यूट्रिएंट को न्यूट्रिएंट ताको हम अधिक दबा को न्यूट्रिएंट हम ताको कम दबा जदी हमको 1600 किलो कैलोरी डाइट दरकार फॉर ए डायबिटिक पेशेंट हमें ताको हमें कैलोरी को माने बजाय रखिबा पई बोली मेंटेन करिया पई बोली हमें कोन करबा कार्ब को बढ़े देबा बट प्रोटीन को कमे देबा एंड फैट को कमे देबा ताहले कोन होबो तार ऑटोमेटिकली तार ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स बढ़िबो एवं ब्लड रे ग्लूकोज लेवल निहाती रूपे बढ़ी जिवो तो हमको सेठी निहाती जानिबा दरकार जे हमें को प्रकार बैलेंस डाइट को हमें सेठी हमें हमर प्लान रे रखिकी आमे करबा निहाती दरकार हमको ए डिसऑर्डर एटा अछि ए डिसऑर्डर को कोन देली आमे ताको मेंटेन करि परिबा बा मैनेज करि परिबा प्रॉपर्ली बुझिएला हेलो
Yes, yes,
हाँ
madam.
मैडम यस
yes ma'am
ओके तो एठी जो मु कथा कहूची जो आपन को थायामिन कथा कहूची या नियासिन कथा कहूची किबा राइबोफ्लाविन कथा कहूची देखंतु आरडी फॉर द थायामिन मु काली आपन को पढेची जे हमको 0.6 मिलीग्राम ऑफ थायामिन इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर द मेन गोटे मेन मानन को पाई गोटे जति माने कर हम 1000 किलो कैलोरी रे हम मेनू प्लान करू माने 1000 किलो कैलोरी रो बैलेंस डाइट प्लान करू छंती तो हम निहाती रूपे 0.6 मिलीग्राम हम रखिबा थायामिन फॉर ए मेल पर्सन फॉर द वुमेन मानक पय हम रखिबा 0.8 मिलीग्राम सिमिलरली जितला हम राइबोफ्लाविन कथा हम चिंता करूचंती 1000 किलो कैलोरी जति हम डाइट माने बैलेंस डाइट मेनू प्लान करूचंती सेठी 0.9 मिलीग्राम हम रखिबा राइबोफ्लाविन फॉर द मेल एंड 1.1 मिलीग्राम दरकार पड़िबा हमरो वुमेन मानक पय कारण वुमेन मानकर निहाती रूपे राइबोफ्लाविन रिक्वायरमेंट ता अधिक दरकार देन दैट ऑफ द मेल सिमिलरली जदि हम नियासिन कथा चिंता करबा नियासिन मध्ये गोटे मेल मानक पे हमको दरकार 5.6 मिलीग्राम इन 1000 किलो कैलोरी से अनुसार आपनकर फीमेल मानक पय 8.8 मिलीग्राम रो दरकार आपनकर कोन नियासिन तो एठी कोन होची आपण सब बेले माने आपण को कंसीडरेशन रे एयर रहिबो जे हमें मेल पाई बनाउ छंती ना फीमेल पाई बनाउ छंती जेमति कि आपण मानक जते बेले हमें आयरन कथा हमें चिंता करबा गोटे मेल को जति कि आयरन 1000 किलो कैलोरी जति कि दरकार आयरन गोटे फीमेल को सेति कि दरकार नाही ता फीमेल को निहाती रूपे रिक्वायरमेंट बॉडी की रहिबो अधिक ही निहाती दरकार सेति कि किलो कैलोरी रे कोन पे ना ईच मेंस्ट्रुअल साइकिल रे हमर 45 ml रो ब्लड हम बॉडी रो लॉस होची ड्यूरिंग द पीरियड्स तो ताको कंपेंसेट करिया पई हमको निहाती रूपे आउरी एक्स्ट्रा आयरन रिच फूड निहाती रूपे से 1000 किलो कैलोरी रे मेल को जति कि दरकार फीमेल को सेति कि दरकार नै डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द कंडीशन ऑफ द पेशेंट एंड द डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द काहारो केति की रिक्वायरमेंट रहिछि सेटा हमको आदि ही हमको जण रेकमेंडेड डाइटरी अलाउंस हमको त गाइडलाइंस अनुसार हमको फॉर्मुलेशन माने फॉर्मुलेट करिया को पड़िबो आपनकर बैलेंस डाइट बुझी होजी सर
आगे madam.
आज्ञा मैडम
ना किछि असुविधा होची कि
नहीं नहीं madam.
बुझी होछि
मैडम माने अछंती बुझी पाउछंती
हाँ
बुझी
मैडम
होछि
बुझी होछि
बुझी होछि
ओके ओके आरडी फॉर द प्रोटीन आर बेस्ड ऑन द बॉडी वेट आपन को म काली भी कहितली पाठ पढेला बळे जे हमको माने जोटा प्रीवियस हमें जहा जानिथिले एबे लेटेस्ट रिसर्च जोडा लेटेस्ट जोडा को इन्वेस्टिगेशन हेछि दिन माने आगुरु कोन होतिला जो बुक कोडा को हम भी पढुचन सेते लिखा हेछि 1 ग्राम प्रोटीन इज रेकमेंडेड फॉर 1 केजी ऑफ बॉडी वेट माने गोटे किलो रो जति माने कर मो माने 30 केजी मु ताले मते 30 ग्राम प्रोटीन इज सफिशिएंट बट एबे सेटा नुमो वर्तमान हमर दिया जाउचे 1 केजी रे हमें 1.2 रु 1.5 पर्यंत ग्राम प्रोटीन इज required but in some cases like the if the patient is suffered by the CKD chronic kidney disease or if the patient is on the dialysis CKD1 CKD2 CKD3 CKD4 that is CKD4 is the ESRD is your end stage of renal diseases ESRD end stage of renal diseases in that cases na आमे केबे भी देई परिबानी 1.5 टू 1.2 ग्राम ऑफ प्रोटीन पर केजी बॉडी वेट तो सेही केस रे हमर कोन होबो प्रोटीन रो रिक्वायरमेंट हमर बहुत कमेबा को पड़िबो जदी हाई प्रोटीन हमें दउचंती ताहले कोन होबो किडनी ताकू फिल्ट्रेशन करि परिबो नाही जो किडनी रे जो ग्लोमेरुलर फिल्ट्रेशन होची किडनी रो सेल्स ऊपर तार बेड इंपैक्ट पड़िबो एवं ओवरलोड पड़िबो जहा फल रे के फिल्ट्रेशन रे प्रभाव पड़िबो एंड तारो आपनकर सिके माने किडनी रो जो आउरी अधिक ही किडनी डैमेज होबा को आरंभ करिवो तो सेहित पे इन दैट केसेस फॉर एनी काइंड ऑफ सीकेडी केसेस क्रॉनिक किडनी डिजीज केसेस हमने कोन करबा 1 केजी बॉडी वेट रे 0.6 टू 0.8 ग्राम ऑफ प्रोटीन इज required not more than that but in the dialysis case जदि गोटे पेशेंट सीकेडी थाई की क्रॉनिक किडनी डिजीजेस थाई की जदि तारो डायलिसिस रे रहूची तार प्रत्येक 20 दिन 15 दिन थोड़ा यदि डायलिसिस होची तो इन दैट केसेस आमे कोन करिबा प्रोटीन रो रिक्वायरमेंट 1.2 रु 1.4 पर केजी बॉडी वेट आमे ताको बढ़ी दे पारिबा दैट मींस नॉर्मली आमे जानिले जे गोटे गोटे सुस्थ लोक पई मध्य जदि गोटे लोकर कौन सी पैथोलॉजिकल फिजियोलॉजिकल डिसऑर्डर नाही ताहले आमे निहाती रूपे आराम से 1 ग्राम प्रोटीन विल बी दे पारिबा किंतु इन सम केसेस लाइक जदि किडनी रो सीकेडी 1 हो 2 हो 3 हो 4 हो अनलेस अंटिल तर डायलिसिस न चली ताहले आमे ताहले प्रोटीन रेस्ट्रिक्शन रे ताको आमे रखिबा सेठी आमे कहिबानी जे आरडीए रे तो कुआ हेतिला 1 ग्राम प्रोटीन पर 1 केजी बॉडी वेट बट इन सब केस रे सब जिंस समान न थाए हमहु सब बेले देखिया को पड़े प्रथम रु कहिछि प्रथम हमकु देखिया पड़िबो माने कोन कंडीशन रे सी अछि तार रिक्वायरमेंट कोन तो आरडी फॉर द प्रोटीन्स आर बेस्ड ऑन द मेनली स्पेसिफिकली इन द बॉडी वेट and the relationship can be expressed on the 0.83 gram proteins per kg body weight in the case of the adult it varies for other age category but आमे हमर जो रिसर्च आर्टिकल हमें जहां पढुछु या रिसर्च पब्लिकेशन हे जो जो जिंस उडा को सेतरे आमे माने आम पेशेंट माने को आमे जहां भी पढुछु जहां भी हमर रिसर्च बेस्ड जिंस हम कहूची 1.2 रु 1.5 ग्राम प्रोटीन हमें देई पारिबा बुझियला एति के जिंस
मैम एक्चुअली हमें जति की माने जानितलु माने अदर सोर्स नु कि इन डिफरेंट केसेस लाइक स्पोर्ट्समैनशिप सेडेंटरी एक्टिविटीज सो इट विल डिफर बट नॉर्मल बॉडी वेट हिसाब रे 1 ग्राम पर 1 बॉडी माने केजी हिसाब रे
हां होते नै सुनंतु आपण एटा जानि छथि समस्त सेटा जानि छथि हम कोठु जानि छथि सेटा होची बुक रु हमें जहा पाई छथि
आगे
आमे जदि गोटे जिंस जानछन तो कोठु हमें जानछन सर बही तो पढी के हमें जानछन ना और सेटा को ही हम एक्सेप्ट करछन ये सर नो
मैडम सेडेंटरी एंड प्लस एक्टिव पर्सन दी जन पई की सेम
निहाती आपनकर एमिति नो जे सुनंतु प्रोटीन आपनकर एमिति ना सेडेंटरी वर्कर पई किछि कमी छिबो एंड हेवी वर्कर मानक पई अधिका लागिबो बोली किंतु जो माने जिंती आपण या पूर्व कहले जो माने अधिक फिजिकल एक्टिविटी करछन्ती जदि हम से माने से अनुसार अधिक प्रोटीन नउछन तांका बॉडी तांकर से कोन कहूची एक्सपेंडिचर से एनर्जी को करि दउची किंतु जदि हम सेडेंटरी वर्कर थिबा एंड ज्यादा प्रोटीन नउथुबा एंड खाली बसुथुबा ताले सेही प्रोटीन तक तार बॉडी रो जो हमरो बॉडी रो जो एनर्जी एक्सपेंडिचर प्रॉपर्ली हबो नै ता फल रे मध्ये से किडनी ऊपर प्रोटीन रो अल्टीमेट जते बळे प्रोटीन टा एक्सक्रीशन हे कि बॉडी रो बाहरिबो कोठो फ्रॉम द किडनी ओनली तो किडनी रो जो फिल्ट्रेशन रही जो ग्लोमेरुलर फिल्ट्रेशन रही ता ऊपर से इंपैक्ट पड़िबो तो जो किडनी सेल्स गुडा धीरे धीरे नष्ट होबा आरंभ करिबो तो हमको हमर फिजिकल एक्टिविटी हिसाब रे ही हमको डाइट नबार अछि नॉट ओनली प्रोटीन कथा हम कहबिनी से मैक्रो न्यूट्रिएंट कथा कहंतु कि माइक्रो सब जिंस
मैम डायलिसिस पेशेंट को वी कैन प्रोवाइड प्रोटीन
हाँ डायलिसिस जेहेतु तार चली ना तो तार प्रोटीन रो रिक्वायरमेंट ज्यादा थिबो तार डायलिसिस चली छी ना तो डायलिसिस चलीबा पर ताको प्रोटीन ज्यादा देजबो ता पर हम ताको प्रोटीन को कारण देखो तो डायलिसिस एमिति नो जे डायलिसिस गोटे दिन करला पर तार किडनीटा भलो होइछबो सेही 5-7 दिन से पेशेंट को गोटे गुड फील होबो बुझियला तापर तो जोटा को सेटा तो सेतक माने आफ्टर डायलिसिस आमे ताको 1.5 1.4 किबा बिफोर भी माने प्रायर डायलिसिस आमे देई परबा किंतु सेही कंटेंट को आमे कंटिन्यू करी के रखिबानी बिकॉज़ से तो किडनी पेशेंट ना सीकेडी केस ता बुझियला मु कहि छी प्रथम रो कहि छी फॉर एनी काइंड ऑफ सीकेडी केस ना 0.6 to 0.8 milligram of protein is required for the CKD cases, not more than that. But in the dialysis cases, we can provide 1.2 to 1 gram या 1.3 gram also.
मैम वेट अनुଯାୟୀ दवा पड़िबो ना एतिकी ही देई हबो
हाँ निहाती तो आम वेट को देखिला परे मध्य मु कहबा कथा जेहेतु डायलिसिस रे हमर बॉडी रो बहुत सारा मेकानिज्म सबडा को से माने पूरा बॉडी रो फिल्ट्रेशन को से तार बहुत सारा प्रोसेस है कि तार बॉडी रो सबडा एलिमिनेशन हबो तो तापरे निहाती रूपे बॉडी रो प्रोटीन दरकार नहले से पेशेंट बहुत माने वीक हे जिवो तो सेहिति पे हमको आफ्टर डायलिसिस also हमने सेति की दबा ता परे नुह जे सेटा को आपन को मु कहूनी जे कंटिन्यू करबा जो डायलिसिस पेशेंट आपन देखिथिबे से कम माने हम तो देखिछु बहुत कम पेशेंट जो अंडर डायलिसिस जानते बहुत कम पेशेंट ही से सर्वाइव करते तो जेतिकी दिन भी से रहिबे मु कहबा कथा पीरियड जो प्रायर या पोस्ट से समय भीतर आप सेतिकी देबे जेतेबेले घर को से डिस्चार्ज होके आसला घरे तार नॉर्मली जो डाइट प्लान को ताको दिया जिवो तो नेफ्रोडाइट ताको दिया जिवो एंड एट दैट टाइम वी हैव टू गिव दैट पेशेंट 0.6 to 0.8 ग्राम ऑफ प्रोटीन नॉट मोर देन दैट माने आपण माने भाबंतुनी जे मु जो डायलिसिस कथा कहली डायलिसिस 1.2 रो ग्राम जो प्रोटीन दबा जदी किडनी कहारो डायलिसिस चलीची या सीकेडी स्टेज माने जो डायलिसिस पर्यंत कंडीशन पळेलानी से केस सब बळे हमें से 1.2 रे रखिबा नाही हमें अगेन बेक करबे से 0.8 ग्राम बुझियला मु कथा मु कहबा कथा जितबेला आपण
Okay, ma'am.
एडमिट होउचंती आपण डायलिसिस हबार अछि तो सही समय आपण दे दिले 1.2 ग्राम बिकॉज ता परे आपण बॉडी पूरा वीक हे जिवो तो ताको कंपेंसेट करिया पे आपण को सेतिकी दरकार जदि फ्रीक्वेंट आपण को डायलिसिस चलछि से केस रे मध्ये आपण 1.2 ग्राम दे परबे किंतु घरे तो नॉर्मल कंडीशन आसला परे आपण ट्राई करियो 0.8 ग्राम को ही ताको रखिबा पाई बुझियला सर
Again.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. RD for the protein are based on the mainly in the body weight, and RD for the energy and protein are given us the additional intake in the pregnancy and lactation. The same thing during the pregnancy and during the periods of lactational period, the requirement of the energy and the requirement of the protein will be increases. Normally, we are taking that 2200 kilocalorie diet. Normal normal women they are taking only 2200 kilocalorie to 2400 kilocalorie, not more than that. But during pregnancy the calorie requirement will be increases plus 500 and during the lactation it will be increases up to plus 600 kilocalorie. That means एटू आम जानिबा जे डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द पैथोलॉजिकल जदि कोनसी प्रकार किछि माने डिसऑर्डर अछि किबा किछि एबनॉर्मलिटी अछि तो सेही क्षेत्र रे आमे नॉर्मल जिंस को कंसीडर करबे ताको आमे सेही अनुसार ही हमें ताको रेकमेंड करिया को पड़िबो दैट इज द आरटी because during the pregnancy and lactation are the periods of the mainly the physiological stresses because the nutrient needs increase during that period because at that time the growing fetus pregnancy case में क्या होता है ना जो fetus is developed inside our uterus and the production of milk in the case of the lactation when the mother is breastfed and the baby is also at that period na RT are given in terms of the additional intake that means if we are in the normal cases we are providing only 2000 kilocalorie during the pregnancy we will add 2000 kilocalorie plus 500 kilocalorie that means 2500 kilocalorie is required for day. In infancy also the RD for the energy protein iron thiamine riboflavin and niacin are expressed per kg body weight. Infancy period also in that period also the body weight mainly refers to the body weight expected for a healthy, normally and a growing infants of a particular age. Infancy mainly it is the period of physiological stress, just like any periods characterized by the rapid growth of the fetus. And RT for the vitamin A has been given as such instead of beta carotene. The amount of different foods to be consumed would depend on the RDA. RDA for a particular nutrient, the more should be the consumption of foods in rich in that nutrient. The amount of cereal consumed by the heavy worker, for example, means the calorie requirement of the heavy worker specifically increases, but in those who are working in the sedentary or in the very light worker, they will require a very less amount of calorie, and this is the difference between that heavy worker and the light worker. And The energy requirement are also different for different age group, different sex, and also in different types of physio and pathological condition. Guidelines for planning the balanced diet. Mainly balance the what is the specific guidelines for the planning of balanced diet? Mainly the balanced diets are the individual specific and region specific and the income specific. That means a balanced diet is never generalized and suitable for all the individuals. It is specific first to an individual of a given age. That means age range and the sex. Balanced diet are always region specific. That means a particular foods is available in a region can be used in the planning. Using other would be impractical and unsuitable also. A balanced diet for a particular region must reflect the characteristic meal patterns and also social and religious practices of that region also. And a balanced diet would imply the use of all the food groups. That means it energy giving, body building, and protective regulatory. In each and every meal, the selection of foods and the amounts of in which they are consumed would vary depending on the income also. In the as incomes increases, the consumption of the cereals reduces, and the consumption of milk and the other animal protein foods, vegetables, fruits, fat, and sugar will be increases. While planning the balanced diet, for the affluent, the trends are kept in the mind, but excessive amount of fat and sugar are not recommended while formulating the balanced menu plan. And what is the main steps in planning the balanced diet? First, we have to consider about the identify the individuals and his or her specific characteristic. First, we have to check the age, after the sex, and the activity level also. Whether he or she is doing the physical activity more or the sedentary type of working she is doing. And the fourth one is the income. Income also play a major role while formulating the balance menu plan. And socio-economic, in the income, socio-economic background and the religion and the region where they residing. These all are the very important points to consider before formulating any kind of balanced diet. And the consult the RDS for energy and protein. It's very important. Consult the RDA for energy and protein. ए विषय में ऑलरेडी एबे जस्ट मो डिस्कशन करूथिली आमे जहां भी आरडीए थाउ ना काहे सब बेले आमे गोटे माने बैलेंस डाइट रो मेनू जते बेले आमे फॉर्मुलेट करूचंती या प्लान आउट करूचंती से समय आमे निहाती रूपे आमे देखिबा जे टोटल आरडीए हिसाब रे आमे केते एनर्जी दोउचंती एंड केते प्रोटीन आमे ताको रेकमेंड करूचंती एंड डिसाइड ऑन द टोटल अमाउंट ऑफ द following main points. First one is that energy giving foods में जो cereals and sugar and jaggery, fats and oils, fruit and tubers. In the bodybuilding groups में milk and milk product and pulses, legumes, eggs, poultry, fish and meat. And the protective regulatory vegetables, specifically green leafy vegetables and other fruits also. And decides on the number of meals to be consumed in a 24 for a day. First you have to decide on number of meals to be consumed and then distribute the total amount decided between the meal. That means per day first we will recommend the 3 major meals. That means first one is the breakfast at 8 to 8:30 a.m. and second is the your major meal, that is the your lunch and dinner. But in between the breakfast to dinner, 2 intermediate feed is very much essential, like the mid morning and evening snacks must be there. If we will formulate our balanced diet like this then our body inside our body glucose should be maintained and the glucose level and your glycemic index will be very nicely it will be maintained. And in these cases, na, the glycemic index will be not increases, and in our blood, in our circulatory system, in our body also, it maintains our all the system also. And distribute to total amount decided between the meals, decide on item also and their amounts within each groups for each meal, decide on menu. Check day's diet for inclusion of specific foods groups in the amount of decided. Mainly identify the individuals in his or her specific characteristic. That means first you have to identify the individual, and after that his or her specific characteristic you have to, like now the types of diet plan mainly depend on the patient, yeah, any client income, socio-economic status, yeah, socio-economic background also, and the religions and the reason where the individual stays are also very very important for the in the planning of balanced diet. Second one is the consult RDA for energy and protein respectively. Generally, the diets which make energy and proteins needs meet the needs of other nutrients. As if care is taken to include the these sources of vitamins and minerals. Therefore, during the planning diet, the total energy and protein needs are specific first, and decide on the total amounts of specific groups, food groups, which type of food groups you are included in the balanced diet menu plan. The amounts of cereals, the amounts of fats, the amounts of sugar, milk, meat, egg, poultry, fish, pulses, legumes, vegetables, and fruits to be consumed are decided based on the mainly based on the income groups. The amount included would be such that a recommended dietary allowance can be made for the energy and the protein, and this will be become very clear to you uh, how we will formulate the or plan the balance menu plan. Decide on the number of meals to be consumed, mainly the meal frequency. Number of meals to be consumed means the meal frequency. The meal frequency varies depending on the mainly depending upon the income and convenience and the work and school schedule also. Peoples belonging to the higher HIG group na consume more meals than that of the other groups. And specifically in breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, evening snacks or dinner, breakfast, mid morning, lunch, tea or dinner. This is the very ideal balanced diet plan. First one is the breakfast, then mid morning and lunch, evening snacks must be there, and last one is your dinner. And the distribution total amount decided between the meals. That means the total amount of each food group decided must be distributed over the day meals. Okay, in the whole day meals, you have to the total amount of each food groups decided must be distributed over the day meals, and decide on item also their amounts within the each group for each meal. The dishes to be included for each meals are decided based on the amount of each item in each of the three food groups decided on earlier. For specific diseases to be included, specific items and selected from each food groups is very important. And check the day's diet for inclusion of specific food groups in the amount of decided. I already discussed about all these things. Yeah, I already covered the balanced diet. What is balanced diet? Balanced diet is the diet that contains the different types of foods in such a quantities and proportion that the needs for all nutrient is adequately met, and a small provision is made for the extra nutrient to withstand short duration of learners. And that balanced diet are planned on the basis of the recommended dietary allowance using the food groups also. And various steps involved in the planning the balanced diet are also discussed in the starting. And individual specific and region specific factors play an important role in determining the food selection and the meal pattern also. This is all about your balanced diet. our next topic is the meal planning. Principle of meal planning and meal planning for the adult, and meal planning for the lactation and the pregnant women, meal planning for the preschool and the infant, meal planning for the schools and the school child and the adolescent periods. Meal planning. आपण म्हणजे meal planning माने कोण बुझुचंदी मते कहबे किछि?
हाँ मैडम मील प्लानिंग माने कौन खाइबा आ को टाइम केते बेले खाइबा आ बयस अनुसार खाद्य परिमाणता केते हेबा दरकार
हाँ
सब फूड ग्रुप रु अछि ना नाही मिसी की कि
Exactly.
आपण
ଆମର
जेमति
ଯୋଉ
कहले
main ହଁ
हाई जीआई रो बेसी हमें कवर करूछे कि लो जीआई रो भी नउछे से गुडा
exactly सेटा होची सबटु बड़ जिंस meal planning means the planning for the adequate nutrition. Simply remember this point. What is meal planning? Meal planning means planning for the adequate nutrition. Okay, this is the meal planning. Preparing and planning meals must be taste good, smell good, because food is seen before it is tasted. The eyes have a very good role, and in food acceptancy, meals must look good and to be tasted, to be enjoyed also. What is the aim of the meal planning? What is the aim of planning meal?
Actually, to organize the
Mainly fulfill the nutritional needs of the family member. Okay, mainly the aim in planning the meals are fulfill the nutritional needs of the family members and taking into account the family size and its composition also. Plan meals within the family income, that is the make maximum use of the money available in the best possible way, and it also aids in the proper purchase, preparation and service of the food also.
रीजनल
Economize
सीजनल भी हो तो मैडम रीजनल एंड सीजनल
reason, yes, it is a very vital point. And economize on time, labor, and fuel also. It's also very vital point. Economize on your time, labor, and fuel also. Provides the variety in the diet by making proper selection of foods from within each of the three food groups. Okay, bodybuilding, protective, regulatory also, and the make meals appealing and palatable also by proper selection of foods in terms of the color, in terms of the flavor, in terms of the texture also. Provides the nutritious meals taking into account individual preference also. Factors to be considered in the meal planning. What is meal, what is menu, and what is meal pattern? Meal kono? While formulating the meal planning, now these factors to be considered: meal, menu, and meal pattern. What is meal? Normally, an individual eat 3 to 4 times a day. Now, the foods consumed at a particular time of the day constitute a meal. For example, foods taken in the morning, that is the breakfast. Similarly, foods eaten in the afternoon, it is the lunch. And the breakfast, lunch, and dinner are the three main meals consumed in a day. That is the meals. Then nutritional factors affecting in meal planning. What is the main factors which affect the meal during the meal planning? First one is the nutritional adequacy. What is nutritional adequacy? The nutritional requirement of the individual to be served is an important consideration in meal planning. The main point is the particularly important when we are planning the meals for a family. In a family, there might be different individuals. A child may be there, an adolescent, an adult, pregnancy woman, lactational lady, or elderly person is also there. Each of these individuals have his or her own specific nutrient requirement. The basic aim while planning the meals should be to fulfill the nutrient need of each individuals. Okay, that is the nutritionally adequacy. It is the main factor affecting the meal planning. And the second point is the plan balanced meal. Plan balanced meal means while formulating the meal plan, mainly we will focus upon the three food groups. That one is the energy giving, body building, and protective regulative food groups, including the food items from each of these food groups in each meal can ensure the balanced diet. If you will skip any one from these, then that will not consider as the balanced menu plan or balanced diet. While formulating any balanced diet, you have to focus upon the energy giving, body building, protective, and regulatory food groups because it including food items from each of these three food groups in each meal can ensure the balanced diet. In food groups, the different food groups is there like the protective and regulatory. In the protective regulatory, the example food items, the examples are the mainly the greeny leafy vegetables, yellow and orange vegetables and other vegetables. Citrus fruits is also there and yellow and orange other fruits. And in bodybuilding, mainly the pulses or legumes, meat, fish, egg, poultry and dairy product. And the energy giving mainly the sugar and jaggery, fats and oils, root and all the tubers and cereals. While formulating the menu, the economic consideration is also the very vital part. The economy of the family, or more specifically, the amount of money available for food per person influences the kind and the amount of food to be included in each meal. And that is in general the three income group is there: LIG, HIG, and MIG. That means low income group, middle income group, and high income group. People with limited income and those belonging to the LIG group may not be able to include the meat and the fruits also, milk also. They're very expensive for them. So the crucial decision is what food items to be selected that would be enable them to plan nutritious meals at a very low cost budget. And there are many ways in which now one can ensure the nutritious meals without increasing the cost also. To begin with, one could use the more of the cheaper food like the cereals. It would further lower cost. If high priced cereals such as the rice, wheat are partially replaced by the millets also like the bajra, jora, ragi, and partially by the roots and tubers like the tapioca and colocasia potato also. And jaggery instead of sugar, like seasonal and locally available fruits and vegetables also. Food combination is also very important, like cereals and pulses combination. The process like the germination, fermentation, and to improve the nutritive value are also very important. And cheaper variety of pulses and cheap nuts such as the groundnut. These also very important points, and vegetables oils. And those people belonging to the MIG group, they have more variety by including more of that cereals, rice, wheats, pulse, meat, fruits, vegetable. They can have the reasonable counts of fats and oils and sugar in their diet. However, the use of the nuts and oil seeds and other miscellaneous foods like jam, jellies will be very limited. In the income rises on one get the freedom to choose from the wide variety of food in or out of the season, locally available or purchased from the outside. Consumption of the milk and milk product and the fat and oil seeds, vegetables, fruits, meats trends to increase. But its care needs to be taken that foods like fat and oil sugars are not taken in amount more than needed by the body. And food acceptance is also a very vital point because individual dislike and like and taboos and socio-cultural practices are also some of the factors that mainly influences an individual acceptance or rejection of the certain food. While planning, one should take into the consideration all these aspects and accordingly select the foods. And while food acceptancy, here while formulating the meal plan, a few key points to keep in our mind. First, include the traditional and region-specific foods in the meal. That means rice and rice preparation like dosa, idli, chapuli are the typical foods of the south. Similarly, dhokla are the typical of the West India, and including such foods in a meal would make the meals acceptable because people living in these regions are very familiar with these foods and they have been turned to their specific taste and the preparation also. Plans meals keeping the religious consideration in the mind while you formulating the meal plan, keeping the religious also because religions greatly influences the food acceptancy. For instance, you know that in certain community, eating meat and other flesh foods is totally forbidden. Even among flesh foods, eating of beef is forbidden. In one of the community, and pork is another. A wise planner should know about the various food preference of religious groups and accordingly provides the bill. While formulating the bill plan, plan meals, the keeping in mind the likes and dislikes of the individuals, very, very, very vital and the chief point while formulating any plan meals, keeping in the mind that the individuals like and the dislike. But remember one thing, the like and dislike should not interfere with the meeting the nutrient need of the individuals. Milk and creamy leafy vegetables, example, are generally disliked by the children. In such situation, therefore the diet could lack in certain essential nutrient. We need to avoid this. Keeping the dislike in the mind, it is always better to change the form of foods and include it in the diet and make it more acceptable. For instance, if milk is listed disliked, then it is better to serve that curd or cottage or cheese or chenna like that or paneer also. Best preparation or any other milk product. And a very important point is the food availability. The availability of the certain foods item is a very particular region influence the meal planning. Like in the coastal region, fish and other seafoods are easily available, and that fish and seafoods are very cheap in that area. The foods for its essential parts of the diet and of people residing in the coastal region, specifically rice is a very common staple food in south area. It should and usually does form the major ingredient in the meals plan for the southern household. The availability of the food according to the seasonal variation is also very important. This is specifically true of fruits and the vegetables. And the knowledge of the fruits and vegetable and their season of available would help us to include them in a meal. And when they are their peak quality and are affordable price also. And next point is the meal frequency and the meal pattern. Meal frequency means you may have noticed that in different households the numbers of meals consumed in a day is vary from one family to other family. In some household now only 2 to 3 meals they are taking, and whereas in other they are taking the 5 to 6 meals per day. The timing of these meals may also vary, and the income, activity pattern, the physiological state, the age of the individual influence the meal pattern also. An individual belonging to the HIG group, they generally consume the more meals as compared to the individual belonging to the LIG group, lower income group. A small child may not be able to eat much at a time. So he would need to be given very small and intermediate and frequent meals. Age factor is also the very major things. Similarly, a pregnant and lactating woman whose nutrient needs increases considerably may need to be given nutritious snacks and other foods preparation in between the meals or in the intermediate feed also. This is the physiological state. And the work schedule of the individuals would also influence the meal pattern, the timing of the meals, and the number of the meals consumed at homes and those eaten away from the homes also. Here the one point is that keep the age, income, activity pattern, physiological state and the work schedule of the individual is in the mind while deciding on the meal frequency and meal pattern. And the economize on time and labor and fuel. It is also a very important point because you are aware that one of the basic aim of the meal planning is to economize on the time and fuel and labor also, because this point is particularly important for the families where the woman is working or where the income is very limited also. Okay. Uh, and our main aim is to the need here is to prepare simple meals with uh, that meal should be very nutritionally balanced. And this is also, these all are the very important point while formulating the planning meal. The mainly the ensure the minimum repetition of food and food combination. You have to focus on that point also and purchase the food items. That means remember the buying in bulk serves on time, money, and energy. Okay, like the perishable food, specifically milk and certain vegetables, could be bought daily. But the other foods like the other cereals or other grains or pulses, these once time you can purchase more amount, and it will help you save on time, money, and energy also. Use the leftover foods from previous meals also. Undertake pre-preparation in advance. Pre-preparation means what? Pre-preparation means if you want to cook the Bengal gram dal or black gram dal or any soybean seeds, yeah, rajma, yeah, like any grains, so it would be better to soak the grains in water overnight. By doing so, the outer hard covering of that seeds grains would soften, and by adding in the cooking the process and saving on time and fuel also. Okay, and ensure the efficient use of time and labor. And always, while formulating the meal plan, variety in meals is very vital. Variety in meals. One would definitely not like to eat the same kind of food in every day. That's why now, while planning the meals, now one should include the variety of foods in the meal. A mixed diet consisting of the foods from the mainly the three food groups would help ensure the nutritional adequacy. But varying the choice of the food items selected from the each of the food groups from day to day would help avoid monitoring the diet. A suitable combination of the foods in terms of the color, in terms of the texture, flavor, and varying the methods of the cooking would help make the meals look more appealing and attractive also. This is the variety in the meals. And some points is there for the appealing and attractive of the meal plan. Include the attractive color combination of foods in the meals, and also include a combination of flavor in the meals also. The combines the mildly flavored foods with those that are strongly flavored foods. Okay. The art of the good meal planning actually lies in the judicious blend of the varying flavor, including combination of texture in the meals also. Combination of texture means combining the soft and crisp, smooth and hard texture would make meal more appealing. Okay, like rice means a meal consisting of the rice, curd, sambar, papad. In such a meal, rice, sambar, curd are the soft and smooth, and papad are the crispness to these meals, and it will also enhance the uh, intake capacity also. Use a variety of preparation method. In the preparation method, there are different types of preparation method is there, and variety may be introduced by the pre-preparation process like the fermentation, germination of food in addition to the usual methods of cooking, namely the mainly the boiling, roasting, steaming, baking, and the frying also. These all are the variety of methods we are using during the cooking method. And satiety value. Satiety value means what? Now, meals should be such that they have a very good satiety value. By satiety, we mean meals should relieve the hunger and give a feeling of satisfaction and fullness. Okay. Like the protein rich foods have high satiety value as compared to the carbohydrate rich food. Okay. Some amount of fat and protein foods must be included in each meal so as to provide the adequate satiety value and also prevent the person from feeling hungry before it is time for the next meal, and it also increase your amount of fiber and the protein and the fat also. While formulating the meal planning, now you have to focus upon the plan meals according to the age, sex, income, activity level, work schedule of the individual. And do plan meals in advance. Ensure that the meals planned have to meet the recommended dietary allowance for each member of the family and includes at least one food item from each of the three food groups in each meal. Include the seasonal and regional available foods in the meals also, and economize on the resource times, labor and fuel. I already discussed. Includes in the meals those foods dishes which are liked by the family members, and prepare the dishes in the way people know or are familiar with the food, and introduce the variety by including the foods of different color, different texture, and different flavor in each meal. Avoid the repetition of the foods I already discussed, and method of preparing foods. Ensure that the meals prepared relieves the hunger and give a feeling of satisfaction and fullness also. Then our next topic is the adult. The nutrient required for the adult. What is adult? କୁହନ୍ତୁ ଆପଣମାନେ ସମସ୍ତେ ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି ଆନ୍ସର କହିବେନି ଆଡଲ୍ଟ ଆମେ କାହାକୁ କହିବା
18 ବର୍ଷ
More,
ଉର୍ଦ୍ଧ୍ୱ
more than 20 years.
ମୋର ଦେନ୍
20 years.
28 से मतलब ଆଡଲ୍ଟ କହିବା सर जने 70 इयर्स तक ଆମେ ଆଡଲ୍ଟ କହିବା ନା କଣ କହିବା
Yes, yes.
adult
18 plus 18 plus तो adult पर
adult कहवा
ଆଡୋଲସେଣ୍ଟ କ୍ରସ୍ କରିଗଲେ ଆଡଲ୍ଟ ହେଲା
adult सेंट केते केते क्रॉस करले करि गला ପରେ ଆମେ କହିବା adult सेंट ବୋଲି
After
ଆଡୋଲସେଣ୍ଟ
12. After 12.
after 12 to up to
18.
18
18.
and remaining
Yeah.
2 years from 18 to 20 which period 18 to 20 huh
The adult.
वो तो adult हो
adult
The adult.
adult period
Adult.
means adult period means any individual in the age groups of 20 years and above, that is the adult period. Okay, and adulthood represents the stage in life now when an individual have completed his or her growth in terms of the body size only. The nutritional needs is for maintenance of the body function rather than that of the growth. An entire period of adulthood mainly divided into two stages. First one is the young adult, second one is the older adult. Okay, total periods of adulthood period is divided into mainly the two stages. One is the young adult and the second one is the older adult. Young adult means a person in the early years of adulthood representing the stable state in life when the tissue breakdown is not predominant or significant. The body retains the capacity to adequately replace the worn out tissue. That is the young adult period. And the older adult means a person is the later years of adulthood. In this period now is characterized by the excessive breakdown of the tissue and the cells takes place, and the body can no longer compensate for the tissue loss adequately. This is the older adult. Okay, and what is the physiological changes takes place during this aging process? The effect of the aging on the functioning of some specific body system is discussed here, mainly the digestive tract functioning. During this period, the number of taste buds present in our mouth oral cavity decreases with aging, which reduces the sensitivity to taste, and there may also be reduction in the amount of saliva secretion, thus making the swallowing so what difficult. To add to this is the problem of the loss of the teeth, which makes chewing difficulty also, and there is also decrease in the amount of acid and the other digestive juices secreted by the digestive tract also. As a result, the food is not digested properly and not absorbed properly also. The food stay in the stomach for a longer period, because of which the feeling of fullness and the heaviness in the commonly experienced, and the muscles of the GI tract also becomes very weak, and the movement of the food in the tract also very slow down, and very common symptoms of the digestive tract is the constipation at that time. These all are the pathological changes during the old age period, pathological changes during the aging process. And the second is the kidney function. In the kidney function, during the aging, there is a marked reduction in the number of the functioning kidney cells, because this affect mainly the kidney functioning. As a result, the body waste are not effectively removed from the body, and that will be accumulated inside the body. Due to that only, edema in some cases, edema, pedal edema and hypertension will be there in this aging process. And similarly, the digestive tract, the skeletal system is also shows so many complications or so many changes, like the skeletal bones loss that occurs with the aging, and may have the serious consequence among the elderly. Mainly the two minerals in our body, like the calcium and phosphorus, with aging there is some thinning of bone tissue due to the loss of these two minerals in some individuals. Now, however, there is an abnormal thinning of bone tissue. As a result, osteoporosis is very common during the aging process, and this osteoporosis is a condition when the bones becomes very brittle and weak also. And old people, especially the women, are very vulnerable, very prone towards the osteoporosis. But it is important to remember that these acute bone changes do not occur in all elderly persons. Why the females are very prone towards the osteoporosis? What is the reason behind it? It's very normal during the aging process. Osteoporosis is very common, but why the females are very prone towards the osteoporosis during the aging process? बुझी होनी कि मुझे कहूची
पिला जन्म मैडम डेलीवरी है कि तांकर सब जो से स्पेशल क्वालिटी अच्छी लेडीज मानकर सेथि पई समान बधे टिके
सेटा गोटे हां सेटा गोटे प्रथम कारण देन ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग मध्ये गोटे कारण थर्ड होची हमर जो मेनार्की पर बहुत सारा हार्मोन इम्बैलेंस हे जाय सीपीआ गोटे फैक्टर ऑल दिस एसोसिएट फैक्टर इज रिस्पांसिबल फॉर द
मेनोपॉज परे ही तो बेसी ऑस्टियोपोरोसिस माने
हां सेत बळे ही अधिक डेवलप करे ना बिकॉज़ हमर टोटल हार्मोनल इम्बैलेंस हे जाय एवं जो गुडा को जति की सिक्रेशन सिंथेसिस जहा होता है से गुडा को धीरे धीरे कमी जाए. दैट इज आल्सो द वन ऑफ द रीजन. ओके बुझी होची ना किछि ना बुझी होनी
हाउची मैडम मैडम जो आपण कहिले ओल्डर एडल्ट रे जो स्टेज रे माने तांकर लॉस टिश्यू सेल्स को कंपनसेट करि पारंतिनी तो सेटा से एज ता पर्टिकुलरली सिंती कोन अछि कि फिक्स माने 50 वर्ष परे कि 60 वर्ष परे सिंती
कोन मु बुझी पालिनी प्रश्न आउतरे
मैडम जो कहिले यंग एडल्ट आ ओल्डर एडल्ट
हाँ
तो ओल्डर एडल्ट सेमान को कहबा जो समय रे तांकर टिश्यू सेल्स एगुडा को जो लॉस हुए कंपनसेट करि पारेनी ए तो मैडम पर्टिकुलर को एज सेंती अछि कि माने 50 वर्ष कि 60 वर्ष कि
हाँ स्पेसिफिकली एटा हाँ 52 ऑनवर्ड्स परे आउ बॉडी रो जो इलास्टिसिटी तो जहाँ नष्ट होबो ता से तो आम बॉडी रो जो फिजियोलॉजिकल बहुत सारा फिजिकली आम बॉडी रे इंटरनली बहुत सारा चेंजेस गुड़ाक हो जाए एंड बहुत सारा हार्मोन्स हो एंडोक्राइन ग्लैंड्स हो तार एक्टिविटी जो जो प्रपोर्शन रे से माने काम करछन तांको एक्टिविटी लेवल मध्ये धीरे 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 कमी आसे एमती गोटे रीजन नै जो रीजन पाई गोटे कारण ही आ पाई दाय बहुत सारा एसोसिएटेड फैक्टर इज आल्सो दैट सेट न्यूट्रिशन भी गोटे फैक्टर 52 onwards को हम कहि परिबा
ओके मैडम ओके
मैडम मैडम
हाँ
क्वेश्चन पचे
हाँ
मैडम जदी जदी प्रॉपर न्यूट्रिशन आउ एक्सरसाइज आउ माने मेंटल हेल्थ को बैलेंस रखा जाए ताहले कोन ए जो एजिंग प्रोसेस टा को कमे दे जे परिबा की
किछि कैंसर कमे देबा किंतु हमें एटा नुह जे बॉडी भीतर जो इंटरनल जो हमर जो सिस्टम रो जहा जहा चेंजेस होची जेमति कि देखो 18 वर्ष माने 14 वर्ष हेला आलु को ही जनकर मेंस्ट्रुअल गोटे फीमेल रो मेंस्ट्रुअल साइकिल स्टार्ट होची आमे जेते योगा करिबा जेते प्राणायाम करिबा जेते पॉजिटिव स्ट्रेस नेबा जेते फिजिकल एक्टिविटी जहा कले मध्य से 14 टू 15 टू 16 इयर्स भीतर हमर एमती मेंस्ट्रुअल साइकिल स्टार्ट होबनी एठी कोटा नाही जदि जो मानकर न हबो ता माने सेटा गोटे दीटा स्पेशली केस इन दैट केसेस इज द माने हम ताको डिसऑर्डर बोली कहबा इट इज नॉट नॉर्मल इट्स एबनॉर्मल बुझिला तो बॉडी रो आम एफर्ट लगेबा एमती नुह जे आम एफर्ट लगेली एटा 100% सेटा को हम ताको ये करि दे पारो बिकॉज़ एटा गोटे डीजेनेरेशन प्रोसेस ऑटोमेटिकली से हबो ही हबो जेमती गोटे गछरे गोटे फलटी हैला माने से फलटा दिन थी छोट माने दिने थी से छोट थी ग्रेजुअली से बढ़िबो आ बढ़िला पर हम ताको जेते एक्सटर्नली हो इंटरनली हो जहां दे के रखिले मध्य सेमती नुह जे से फलटा से गछरे लाखि की रहइबो दिन आसीबो सितार अंडर द सुटेबल कंडीशन हो जहां भी गोटे पाइला माने से गछरो झड़ी की पड़िबो एक्जेक्टली से बॉडी मध्ये सेटा है आमे किछि कैंसर ताको माने ये करि परिबो बट एमिति नो बिकॉज़ आपण एमिति करि कि आपण को इंटरनली जेमति कि मु कहूची माने करो हमर रिप्रोडक्टिव पीरियड स्पेसिफिकली हमें 21 रो 45 इयर्स या आजिकल हम कहबो 48 इयर्स भीतर हमर रिप्रोडक्टिव पीरियड तो ए पीरियड रे ही जणे भल से जेंतु देखिथिबे जते बळ हमर 35 एज गोटे फीमेल रे 35 रो ऑनवर्ड्स हे जाउची से समय जिते बळे से माने कन्सीव करिया पे चाहूचंती ताकर फर्टिलिटी रेट धीरे 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 कमी कमी जाउची किंतु आमे कहबे जे मैडम आमे योग करूछु आमे प्राणायाम करूछु आमे गुड हेल्दी डाइट्स नउछु आमे मेंटली स्ट्रेस फ्री रहउछु एंड सब पॉजिटिव जिंस करिकि भी केमते एमते होउची हमर काहे की रहउनी बुझिला ना नै एटा नुह हमर जोटा जेते बळे जहा जेमती माने बॉडी सेही अनुसार ही तयारी हिची आमे इंटरनली आमे कोन से हार्मोन द सिक्रेशन को आमे कमै दे परिबनी किबा जो कैल्शियम अदर मिनरल्स डेफिसिट हे जाय आमे तो एज बॉडी बॉडी जाय सेटा को भी आमे कमै दे परिबनी किबा बॉडी रो जो इलास्टिसिटी स्किन रो जो ताको भी कमै दे परिबनी जो चेंजेस जो होची इधर दैट मे बी स्केलेटल सिस्टम रे हो रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम हो इंटेगुमेंटरी सिस्टम रे हो एनी सिस्टम रे नर्वस सिस्टम रे हो बयस हे गेला परे 55 60 वर्ष परे धीरे 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 हमरो डिक्लाइन से हिजबो मन रखिबा शक्ति आमी सेठी चाबिटे रखितबा सेठी आमे खुजतबा किंतु आपण मन देखिदियो छुआ माने को यदि 15 वर्ष 14 वर्ष 17 वर्ष 22 वर्ष छुआ को देथिबे जो जिंस जहा से मन रखि ताके मन रखिदियो कोन व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन तांको हम भितरे बिकॉज़ हमर वंस एज आसी गला परे एटा हबो ही हबो एटा कोनटी आपण आमे एटा उटे एक्सटर्नल ये हम किछि कैंसर ताको ये कर बे बट नॉट 100% बुझियला
मैडम हमर ए जो एजिंग प्रोसेस ता आपनकर कोल्ड कंट्रीज रे एजिंग प्रोसेस टिके स्लो की माने देन आवर ए जो ग्रीष्म प्रधान देश आउ ए जो शीत प्रधान देश रे ए जो एजिंग प्रोसेस ता तांकर टिके स्लो हमर टिके अधिका की
सेमिति नुहे सब डिपेंड करे आपनका बॉडी रो वाइटालिटी ऊपर आपनका लाइफस्टाइल ऊपर आपनका फूड इनटेक ऊपर ए सब एसोसिएटेड फैक्टर मध्य काम करे बुझ पाले सेमती मु जानिया भितर एमती किछि रिसर्च माने आर्टिकल्स नाही जे माने सेटार कम आ एटार अधिक या एटार कम कि सेटार अधिक बोली मो पढिबा भितर मु माने मोर ये नाही जोटा नॉर्मल जोटा सेटा नॉर्मल जोटा एबनॉर्मल सेटा एबनॉर्मल बुझि पाले ना
आज्ञा आज्ञा ମୁଁ ମାନେ କହିବାର ଉଦ୍ଦେଶ୍ୟ ହେଲା ଯଦି
ହଁ।
ପ୍ରପର ନ୍ୟୁଟ୍ରିସନ ଆଉ
ନା
ପ୍ରପର
ନା ନା ଏମିତି ତ ଆମେ 100% ବିଲକୁଲ ନାହିଁ ନା ନା ଆପଣ ଯୋଉଟା ଭାବୁଛନ୍ତି ସେଟା ବିଲକୁଲ ହିଁ ନୁହଁ ବିଲକୁଲ ହିଁ ନୁହଁ ବୁଝିପାରିଲେ ବିକଜ ବଡିର ତ ଫିଜିଓଲୋଜିକାଲ ଫଙ୍କସନ ଚାଲିଛି ବୁଝିପାରିଲେ ନା କଣ ପାଇଁ ଏଟା ହଉନି ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆପଣ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଯେତେବେଳେ ଏଜ୍ ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ ପ୍ରୋସିଡ୍ କରୁଛି ଅଟୋମେଟିକାଲି ଆମ ଓରାଲ କେଭିଟିରୁ ଯୋଉ ସାଲିଭା ସିକ୍ରେସନ ହଉଛି ସିଏ ମଧ୍ୟ କମି ଯାଉଛି ଡେଣ୍ଟାଲ ଯୋଉ କେଭିଟିସ୍ ରହିଛି ତାର ଦାନ୍ତର ତାର ଡେନ୍ସିଟି ମଧ୍ୟ ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ କମି ଯାଉଛି ତ ଏଟା କେମିତି କମୁଛି ଆପଣ କହିବେ ନ୍ୟୁଟ୍ରିସନ ଖାଇଦେଲେ ଖାଲି ସେଟା ମେଣ୍ଟେନ୍ ହେଇକି ରହିବ କିଛି କ୍ୟାନ୍ସର ମେଣ୍ଟେନ୍ ହବ ବଟ୍ ବଡିର ଫିଜିଓଲୋଜିକାଲ ଚେଞ୍ଜେସକୁ ଆମେ ଚେଞ୍ଜ କରିପାରିବା ନାହିଁ ବୁଝିପାରିଲେ ନା ନାଇଁ ଯେମିତି ମନେକର ଆମର ଇଚ୍ 28 ଡେଜ୍ ଥରେ ଆମର ମେନଷ୍ଟ୍ରୁଆଲ ସାଇକେଲ ହବ ହିଁ ହବ ଦିସ୍ ଦ ନର୍ମାଲ ଆଉ ତାପରେ ଯଦି 7 ଡେଜ୍ ପ୍ଲସ୍ ଅର୍ ମାଇନସ୍ 7 ଡେଜ୍ ଇଜ ଅଲସୋ ନର୍ମାଲ ବଟ୍ ଆମେ କହିବା ଯେ ଆମେ ଚାହୁଁନୁ ଏ ହବା ଆଉ ମାନେ ଆମେ ଯୋଗ କରିବା ଇଏ କରିବା ସିଏ କରିବା ସବୁ କରିବା ଆଉ ଆମ ପିରିୟଡ୍ସ କେମିତି ନ ହଉ ଏଇ କଣ ମାନେ ହାଉ ଇଟ୍ ଇଜ ପସିବଲ ये तो हॉर्मोनल ना तो इंटरनली ना आपण कहबे जे मैं खाइली मु सेटा करली बिल्कुल नुह बिकॉज इंटरनली बॉडी रो बहुत सारा फिजियोलॉजिकल प्रोसेस चली ना हार्मोनल चेंजेस चली स्केलेटल सिस्टम ता काम करूची जेतो एज फैक्टर बॉडी पड़ी जिवो अब हम सब जिनसर लेवल ता धीरे धीरे जेमति कि आपनकर ऑस्टियोपोरोसिस हो किबा आपनकर जो रिमेटॉइड आर्थराइटिस हो बयस बढ़िला फल आपनकर जो बोन भितर जो साइनोवियल फ्लूइड अच्छी तो धीरे धीरे कमी जीव आप देखुए आज के स्पीड चलुच्च आ 15 वर्ष पर धीरे धीरे बसला बेलू उठिला बेलू आपको आंठुटा खड़खड़ खड़खड़ हवा आरंभ कर साइकेलटा चलातु गाड़ी साइकेलटा चलला पर तो आम 6 मंथ 4 मंथ चलाऊँ तेल फेल न पड़े से खड़खड़ होची तो सिमिलरली आम जो एज प्रोसेस एजिंग प्रोसेस आसूची तो आम जो डेफिसिट हो जाऊँगी डेफिसीएंसी होची कमी जाऊँगी आमर साइनोवियल फ्लूइड ऑटोमेटिकली सेटा मध्ये क्रैक होची सेटू साउंड होची तो आमे भाबे जे आमे ए करबा आमे से कर किछि कैंसर ताको मैनेज करबा बट एमती न हो जे 100% बुझियला
କିଛି ଲୋକ ତ ଯୋଗ ବଳରେ 100+ ଇୟର୍ସ ନିରୋଗୀ ରହି ପାରୁଛନ୍ତି
हाँ सेटा रही हाँ सेटा जो कहउचंती सेटा आपनकर सुनंतु सेटा एबे आमे कहिबा कोविड रो वैक्सीन नै कि मध्ये डबल डोज वैक्सीन नै कि मध्ये लोक मरि चंती बिना कोविड वैक्सीन रे मध्ये लोक बहुत सुस्त रह छंती It's totally depend upon the vitality of the patient and the body रो immunity ऊपर डिपेंड करे आउ ता निजर बॉडी रो ये ऊपर डिपेंड करे सब जाक ऑल केसेस को हमें केबे बेटर शामिल करि परिबानी ओके एंड आमे मो टॉपिक को जीवा अदरवाइज आमे बहुत लेट हे जीवा एंड आपण मानक समय भीतर मु कोर्स को कंप्लीट करि परिबी नाही
थैंक यू मैम थैंक यू
वेलकम And I already discussed about the what is the changes takes place during the what is the physiological changes during the aging and how the kidney function is affected and how the digestive tract function will be affected and how the skeletal muscles will be affected during the aging process and the RDA recommended dietary allowance for the adult. The recommended dietary allowance for the adults is based on the age, sex, body weight, mainly the body size, and the physical activity also. And the nutrition that recommended dietary allowance for the adult, the nutrient requirement for the adult are mainly depend upon the 3 categories based on the activity level. First one is the whether that adult is doing the heavy worker or moderate or the sedentary lifestyle, and the nutrient requirement for the men and women are separately and depends upon the age, sex, and body weight also. And all these things that the physical the activity level, the sex, the body size, and the body composition all are influenced by the nutrient need. And the influence of the activity level on RD for adult mainly it based on the nature of works and the level of activity. Different occupation are classified into mainly that heavy worker, a sedentary worker, and the moderate worker. And sedentary means क्या? Light or moderate is the Moderate meaning the neither too light nor too strenuous exercise or the hard work. And the heavy meaning hard work or strenuous work. The recommended dietary allowance for the energy and vitamins are mainly based on our physical activity level. And the amount of energy used in performing the function when the body is at the complete rest at that time also our both the physically and mentally work is termed the basal metabolism. The rate at which the energy is required to carry on these function is known as the BMR, basic metabolic rate. Basic metabolic rate क्या है ना? The amounts of energy is used in performing these functions when our body is at the complete resting stage, both mentally and physically, is termed as the basal metabolism, and the rate at which the energy is required to carry on these functions is known as the basal metabolic rate. And also the influence of the body size composition on the RDA for the adult. That means the energy and the protein requirement of the women is lower than that of the men on corresponding the age and the activity level. And the influence of the age on RDA for adult and elderly. Mainly the age of the adult influence the requirement for some of the nutrients, and specifically now with aging there is a decrease in the body functioning and performance also. The body metabolism will be slowed down and it is lowered, and these factor togetherly with the reduce the physical activity level and creates the very less demand for energy. Energy requirement also decreases with increasing the age due to the poor appetite and poor appetite control, loss of lean muscles mass, and increase fat mass, and diminishes the resting energy expenditure, and progressive decrease the physical activity often due to the bone, joint disorder, heart, lungs, and neurological disease and pain also. Meal planning for the adult. In general, whatever be the nutritional needs during the meal planning should take into the consideration the basis four factors are major factor. First one is the to whom we are planning the meal, and in that meal plan now which nutrient are of a particular importance and which are the food to select and what should be the meal pattern and what are the specific consideration. And whom are we planning for? Old or young, men or women, sedentary, heavy worker or moderate worker, belongs to LIG or HIG or MIG. And specifically, you have to information about these specific characteristic would help you determine the nutrient need, the kinds and the amount of food needed, and the meal pattern to be followed. Based on the information, we will enlist the RDA, which nutrient are a particular importance. That means during the adulthood, the nutrient are required basically for the maintenance of our body function. And the diet should therefore include sufficient amounts of these three categories of nutrient, mainly the energy giving that carbohydrate and fats, body building proteins, and the protective regulatory minerals and the vitamins. Depending on the activity level of the adult, depending on the age and sex also, the amounts of nutrient required from each of these three categories would vary from person to person. And for instance, now an older adult would require less energy giving nutrient as compared to the younger adult, and the women would require very less energy giving and body building nutrient, but more iron are compared to men of the same age and the activity level. A heavy worker would require the more energy giving nutrient than that of the sedentary worker. And which food to be selected? Mainly cereals. In the cereals now, whether that wheat, rice, bajra, joe, and or any other staple commonly used. One of the more of the pulses now preferable in combination with the other cereals or meat, fish, chicken, if acceptable, and some amount of milk and dairy product is also. At least one greeny leafy vegetables like the mustard leaves or fenugreek leaves or spinach or drumstick leaves or any other green leafy vegetables. And other vegetables like the brinjal, carrot, and cauliflower, drumstick, and lady's finger, and some seasonal fruits and vegetables also. Fats and oils in adequate amount, sugar and jaggery according to the taste. What should be the meal pattern? The daily routine of the adult influence the mainly the meal pattern. That means adults who are engaged in an occupation, for them the work timing is very important. It is commonly now observed that the most of the people working for the 8 hours, and for the timing begins from the 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And the meal timing, the number of meals and the kind of the meals planned therefore needs to be adjusted according to their work timing. Lunch and dinner are the two main meals consumed in a day, and ensure that the lunch and dinner provides at least one third of the total day calorie, and the breakfast and the rest of the meals together should provide the remaining one third of the total day calorie. And the packet lunch are commonly carried by the working adult, and they are the packed lunch. We mean any food preparation carried to the place of the work which is consumed in the afternoon. It's essential that the packed lunches carried should be in the balanced form. The packaged lunch must include at least now one item from the three food groups that may be in the energy, that namely that mainly that is the energy giving, bodybuilding, and the protective regulatory types of foods. And however, does not mean that we include the three items, one for each groups in a packet lunch. One dish meals now can also provide most of the nutrient, like that khichdi. In khichdi you can got everything. While formulating the adult nutrition, now what are the specific consideration for the older adult? Various physiological changes takes place during the aging. Now, these changes specifically in the GI tract, that means the gastrointestinal tract is affected, and necessity certain modification in the kind of amount of food to be included in the meals, the numbers of meals to be consumed, and the method of preparation to be adapted. And what are the modification? During the aging process, there is a problem of the loss of teeth. As a result, the chewing is becomes very difficult. And in that situation, like change in the texture and method of preparation of foods is recommended. Includes only soft, well-cooked, mashed, or finely cut food in the diet. All the hard food with skin and seeds should be avoided unless they can be substituted by the mashing or grating. And during the aging, there is the problem of the impaired in the taste sensitivity. As a result, the pleasure of eating is partially lost. It is also therefore advisable that the meals for the age should be made from more attractive and appealing by including a variety of foods and color combinations so as to encourage and motivate the elderly person to eat. And any strongly flavored foods or foods with a strong smell or totally bland foods should be avoided. Appealing must be there. and particularly attention has to be given for including the protective foods, specifically the fruits and seasonal and regional vegetables in the diet of the elderly persons. These foods are frequently overcooked or omitted, and the old people commonly complain of having a feeling of fullness or the heaviness. In such cases, a small meals as frequently intervals should be given so as to help in the digestion process. Or any dry fruits or fatty foods or highly concentrated foods like sweets should be avoided. Constipation is also a very common problem during the old days. At that time, also to overcome these problems, include plenty of fiber-rich foods, specifically water and fluid in the diet, and fluid in the form of the buttermilk, juice, tea, soups, and other beverages can be given. In addition to water, also an intake of 6 to 8 glasses of water per day is also recommended. And for the older adult, now you remember these points. You have to focus upon the ensure the sufficient intake of meats, green leafy vegetables, cereals, and other calcium-rich foods, and do not serve big piece of raw or hard foods. Okay, and in that older diet, you have to include more of the protective foods such as the fruits and vegetables in the diet. Include plenty of water and fruits in the diet. It's soft, well cooked, mashed, and finely cut food in the meals. If there is a problem in eating, also include fiber rich food in the meals and increase the meal frequency. Also reduce the total amount of food served at one meals. Encourage the elderly persons to eat with the other members of the family, and ensure that the elderly person does not skip the meals, and avoid to them cut down their fatty fried food, and also do not give spicy foods if poorly tolerated. Also bland food need not necessarily be given. Also avoid serving strongly flavored foods or foods with a strong smell also.
Ma'am, actually, sometimes we listen ki the milk is create the impression in the body actually. Is it true, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Because we don't know what is the source of milk. So sometimes
which type of infection are you asking?
Inflation, body re inflation हुए बोले कि sometimes milk is avoided for the
milk.
Yeah, madam.
So if you don't administer them that directly milk, you can give them in any dairy product like that. Curd is very good for the health, na? So you can convert that milk to the curd form, and in the lunch you can administer that one.
Okay.
If that patient is not tolerated to the milk, you can avoid that milk. Okay, instead of giving the milk, you can supply them that either buttermilk or curd, or in the breakfast also you can give that chenna form. Chenna patient मानक भी हमें देई थाउ ओल्ड लोक मानक सेमन तो बहुत से रेस्पॉन्ड करंती किस तो असुविधा हुए नहीं. अदर जो माने इन्फेक्शन कथा पचारुचंदी तो निहाती रूपे देखंतो जितबेला एज रो प्रोग्रेस करे हमर बॉडी रो वाइटलिटी कमी जाय थाय तो सेही अनुसार आमे जेमती माने यंग रे आमे जतिकी मिल्क नउथिले सेतिकी मिल्क आमे देबानी. एंड द डेयरी प्रोडक्ट रो जो वे रे आमे ताको दोचन ताको टिके मॉडिफाई कर दबा. जदि हम पिला क्षीर खाउनी तो आमे ताको दही फॉर्म रे देबा. सर
मैडम लैक्टोज इंटॉलरेंस जो मानकर अछि
हाँ तो लैक्टोज इंटॉलरेंस से आपण एई क्षीर को न देखि आपण अन्य क्षीर दे परिबे जेमति बादाम मिल्क हो नले सोया मिल्क हो नले कोकोनट मिल्क हो. अदरस आपण काली तो मोर गोटे बहुत बढ़िया से ऑल इंडिया रेडियो रे एई टॉपिक को नै कि माने थिला हमर डिस्कशन से जो माने क्षीर खाली क्षीर माने हमें जनरली भाबुचंती जे काउ मिल्क इज द वन एंड ओनली मिल्क. नॉट लाइक दैट सर. Other sources of milk is also available. तो plant sources of milk is there and animal sources of milk is there. तो अपन other किछि एक चूज करंतो. एटा तो माने जेहेतु गैस्ट्रिक इंटॉलरेंस रहउची तो अपन तको अवॉइड करबे. गैस्ट्रिक इंटॉलरेंस रहिले दबार किछि आवश्यक नै. Other form of milk is available. You can go through that one, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Madam, actually, milk is create the impression in the body actually. Is it true, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Because we don't know what is the source of milk. So sometimes
आलमंड मिल्क मध्ये आपण देई परिबे बने कि ये करी कि किबा सोया मिल्क मध्ये मार्केट रे अवेलेबल हेलानी एंड सोया मिल्क रो प्रोटीन तो बहुत भलो एंड सेटा माने आपनकर जीआई ट्रैक्ट रे कोनोसी साइड इफेक्ट पकाइन एंड इजीली ऑब्जर्वेबल एंड सबटु भलो होची जो मानकर जीआई इंटॉलरेंसी रहउची तो बेटर होची आपण छेली खीर भी आराम से देई परिबे एंड दैट छेली खीर इज वेरी 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 गुड फॉर द गैस्ट्रोइंटेस्टाइनल डिसऑर्डर बिकॉज से जो प्रोटीन अच्छी ना से प्रोटीन टा इजीली आपण जीआई ट्रैक्ट को ऑब्जर्व करि परिबो असिमिलेट करि परिबो एंड एक्सक्रीशन करि परिबो
ओके
बुझी परले सर
आगे आगे madam.
ओके what is aging is the term aging means describe the process gradual and progressive changes which takes place over the entire adult lifespan okay. Now I will discuss about the meal planning for pregnancy and lactational women. And during the pregnancy, the RDA, recommended dietary allowance for the pregnant women, and meal planning for the pregnancy women. Lactation also recommended dietary allowance for the lactating mother, and meal planning for the lactating women. What is pregnancy? Pregnancy कौन हमें बुझीबा? हाँ कुहन इट्स वेरी इजी क्वेश्चन
conceiving a baby.
वेरी गुड हाँ मैडम माने कि कहन तो प्रेगनेंसी व्हाट डू मीन बाय प्रेगनेंसी
पद्मजा मैडम कहतु
मैडम आपण सब जानि छंती कहउनांती कोन पे कहन तो
ओहो
okay pregnancy is a period in which na the life of an adult woman when and the fetus that is the unborn baby that is the fetus grows inside her body it is called as the pregnancy. Pregnancy is a period in the life of an adult woman when the fetus is developed the unborn baby grows inside our uterus it is called as the pregnancy. And to support the growth of the fetus, certain physiological changes take place inside our body. These changes, along with the growth of the fetus, necessitate an increase in the nutrient requirement of the body. And what is lactation? What is lactation?
Lactation means breastfeeding.
Lactation means breastfeeding. What is the definition of lactation?
Feeding of a newborn baby.
It is the period following the birth of the child when the mother breastfeeds her baby. And the baby for the first 6 months after birth depends totally on the breast milk for the proper nourishment, exclusive breastfeeding. And that breast milk contains the several nutrients, which of course are supplied by the mother. And more food is required by the woman during the lactation to help meet the additional nutrient requirement. Okay. Pregnancy, specifically pregnancy is a period of about 9 months. And in this period now when the fetus that is the unborn baby grows inside the uterus and the life for the human beings begins with the meeting of the two cells, namely the eggs from the mother and the sperm from the father inside the woman body. And that eggs and the sperm unite to form the single cell and these tiny single cells migrates to the uterus and it is there that is eventually grows to form the fetus. The single cells first divide into the two cells, then force the egg and many such cells. As a result, there is a tremendous increase in the cell number. The cell size also increases, but we must remember that all the cells are not the same. Gradually, the cells becomes specialized in the structure and the function, and the cells of the similar type again themselves to form the tissue. And some tissue are from the organs of the body and growth and development of these organs continue. And growth, you may already know, refers to the physical increase in the size of the body and it's all the organ also. Tomorrow, I will discuss about the nutrition requirement during the pregnancy and the lactation, the RDA for the pregnancy and lactation. today now the time is 6 o'clock. We will means we will stop the classes, and if anyone is having any question tomorrow, you can ask me.
मैम
କୁହନ୍ତୁ ଶୀଘ୍ର ସାରିବା ଆମେ ଟାଇମ୍ ହେଇଗଲାଣି।
मैम एक्चुअली मोर गोटे क्वेश्चन है कि हमरो टाइमिंग टा ए टाइम रहइबो ना मैम?
ହଁ ହଁ ଏଇ ଟାଇମ୍ ଆଉ କିଛି ଟାଇମ୍ରେ କିଛି କମ୍ପ୍ରୋମାଇଜ କରିହେବନି।
एक्चुअली मु जॉब रे मैम अछि ना, तो मोर 4 क्लास रे नेटवर्क भी ठीक रहउनी मोर।
मैम कौन କରିବା ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କର କିଛି ନା କିଛି ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ରହିଛି, ମୋର ବି ନିଜର ବି ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ, ତ ଆମକୁ ये सहित ଯିବାକୁ ଯଦି ଆପଣଙ୍କର କିଛି ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ